Hey Scrappers, it's Vanessa here, and it is Christina Day, or Secret Not Secret Kit Club Day, which is the 9th of every month. Some of us that are part of the Kit Club will try to post a video. And so I thought for this month that instead of doing a process video using some supplies from a kit, I would show you some of the layouts that I've created recently from the Layout Palooza, and as well as some layouts that I created for the June scrap party from the Secret Not Secret Kit Club. So I'm just going to go through them really quick. This isn't going to be a long video. I don't have all of the layouts for the Layout Palooza. I just have a few that I finished. There's a couple I still have left to do, so I thought I would just give you sort of a look at some of the projects that I've done recently. This first one is from Layout Palooza, and it was mainly using these florals that were die cut from a cut file from Stamp Market, I believe, and this is my take on the layout that Christina created for Layout Palooza. Now hers looked a lot different, and because it's paid content, I don't have a way to show you what the original looked like, but this was my take on it, and I absolutely love these florals. I did edge or ink all the edges of these just to give a little bit more definition to the petals. I added some of my own rhinestones to the middle and stamped some butterflies. Other than that, the white cardstock came with the page put together. I put my own letter stickers, obviously my own photo, and then added some pattern paper. I did some stenciling and some other things from my stash to create the page, but I really love how this one came out with these beautiful florals. This was probably one of my favorites that I've created so far from the Layout Palooza. And I wanted to say this was Layout Palooza 4. It might not have been 4, but I think it was. So that was the first one. The second one was this one here that I created of my son, and the cool thing is Christina is now able to, with her new cutter, cut wood veneer, and so she created these really fun gears and then showed us how to take this white pattern paper, or this white cardstock that she had already pre-cut the hexagons from, and we layered up the inside the hexagons, the gears, and then I used some additional ones up here. And so this was my take on that layout. I added on mine some mixed media in the background, punched some more hexagons for here at the top and then across the bottom. And then there was also a cut file, this like sort of little, it's kind of like a brick wall or some sort of geometric sort of pattern. And so I just layered up all of the bits of pattern papers that were supplied to us for this layout and layered them all up, cut the hexagons. I added a couple of word stickers of my own and some puffy stars. And then other than that, everything else came from the Layout Palooza class, and I really love how it turned out. It's kind of got that grungy kind of boy, definitely a boy feel, and so I really do love this one. The next layout is this very monochromatic sort of tone-on-tone blues, and you call that green or turquoise colors, and this one was 3 photos. I followed the original design with how these different sized squares were all layered up, and I ended up putting it in a different configuration than the original, but nonetheless these were the idea was to create these really cool elements for your page. I added some stamping for texture in the background. We also had been shown to create these little shaker pockets with sequins. I added my own photos, my own sequins, or some of my own sequins, some other just little elements from my stash, and created this really cute pool page. Definitely has that pool feel, and I'm loving these sequins. I love the movement that it gives the page. So really, really fun. This one was also from Layout Palooza. I have no words today. This next one was also from Layout Palooza, and Christina showed us how to create the starburst here, and so we did that, and then I popped up, we also created these triangles, which I popped up and just kind of put each one matching the pattern for each one of the starbursts. So it just adds this little extra that if you didn't really notice, you might not even notice that the stars are there, but it just adds a little bit of extra interest. I pulled in from my own stash some other items from the Vicky Wooten Let's Wander, since that's what the papers were from. Obviously added my photo. One of the patterns had these florals, so I fussy cut the ones I had left from that pattern paper, layered up some things down here. This stayed relatively true to the original design of the layout we were creating. I did add some of my own elements to it, but I kept to the cluster here and then the starburst at the top. So really, really fun. Layout Palooza is definitely worth the cost for sure. It is a fun-filled day of creating layouts. There's a Facebook group, and so we just get together and create layouts. Christina walks us through them, and we create layouts for the day, so it was really fun to put these together. And I want to say, yes, this is the last one that I've created so far. I think I have 3 or 4 more layouts to finish for Layout Palooza. So like you also get quite a number of pages to put together, and so this was another one that I created, and I has some of the same design. I did add or change up where things went, but I kept pretty true to, I didn't add a whole lot of extra to this layout. I kept mostly to the design of the original, and I love this one. I love the rainbow colors. Super fun layout. I love the rainbow. Added again some interest to my background with some stamping, just to enhance and keep it from just being a plain piece of white cardstock. So really love that one. Really like these rainbow gems that we were given as well. They added some additional texture to the layout, and again, I love anything with a rainbow, and this was a really cute little cut file that she gave us. Now these next couple layouts are all created from the June scrap party, and so this first one was, I believe this was for the Birthstone challenge. So I basically used the birthstones from our family, which is March, December, July, and April. So that was red, a light blue, a darker blue, and the diamond or white. So I pulled in some silver as well as some white. I have the red, I have the lighter blue, I have the darker blue, and so I really love how this one turned out. I used a giant cut file that I cut on my silhouette, and really had fun putting this one together. I like the impact of the way all these colors go together, as well as this large title. So this was a fun one, and that's my little overtired superhero, my son after a long night of trick-or-treating. This next one, I want to say these next 3 are from our team challenges. So we were put into teams, and so there were challenges for our teams to do, and so this was the first challenge, I believe, and so we had to use specific items, and so it was like pattern paper, sequins, enamel dots, and flare, I think, and epoxy flare. And so I got all of those on my page. Just have some under the water pictures of some fishes from the Finding Nemo ride at Disney. Put my title. I of course have my little Mickey head down here, and I added a rainbow because you can never go wrong with a rainbow. Got all of my elements in that were my requirements, and I do really like how this one came together. Now this one here was for a we had to pick a sketch and a color palette. So within our group, somebody picked a sketch, somebody picked a color palette, and someone picked the theme, as well as someone picked the number of photos. So it was one photo. The inspiration came from a sketch. The color scheme came from a color inspiration, and I had chosen the theme of currently love, or something that you currently are enjoying. And so I chose to document my new alcohol ink markers, which I am definitely currently loving. And I colored up, I stamped and embossed these houses and then colored them with my markers for an added touch for this layout. I don't know if I would say that I love this page. It's done. It's probably not my favorite. It's just a different color scheme for me, and so I think that's why I'm on the fence of whether or not I actually love it or don't love it. So, but it was definitely a fun one. It was one of those definitely challenging layouts to put together. And then this one here was for the last of the team challenges, which was like our telephone hop, where the first person started with a layout and we passed it all the way through. I was the last one in line, and this is what I created based on the person before me's layout. And so I really love how this one turned out. I love this pattern paper with this rainbow stripe, and then I have florals that I cut from a Bloom Street paper and just layered all of those florals up. I punched some circles, added some, it's really hard to see it, but this is texture paste with a heart stencil, which doesn't really show up very well on camera, but in person you definitely can see it and feel the texture. And just added some sequins. So overall, just was a really just fun layout of my daughter and I, and I really love how this one turned out for sure. And last but not least, I have this layout here, which was for Christy's challenge, and she just had, it was sort of like a color or be inspired by the picture challenge, and so I went definitely with the colors and created this really fun layout of my kiddos and did some really fun stitching around the edge, layered it up on this wood grain background, did some Distress Oxide through a stencil, and just layered a whole bunch of bits and pieces all from my stash up to create sort of in the same, I tried to keep the colors within the same box of where the pattern paper was, so kind of doing that color on color. And then up here, this one sort of brings all the colors together. So this was a really fun one to put together. And for me, that's pretty good for one weekend, getting this many layouts done. I got like 4 or 5 done in that one weekend, and so I'm pretty happy with that, along with my Layout Palooza layouts. So be sure to go out there and check for other people posting about what they created with the Secret Not Secret Kit Club. And guys, with that, I will catch you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.